Raindrops fell like confetti over a scene too perfect to be real, yet it was. Was it just coincidence? Or fate's own script? When Song Kang and Kim Yoo-young were caught in the rain, their spontaneous embrace turned an ordinary moment into something straight out of a drama. The world stopped watching the sky, and started watching them. Let's dive in and uncover every detail behind this cinematic encounter, right here. With red carpet revealed. Rain had begun quietly, almost shyly, as if it were afraid to disturb the night. And the heavy kind that lashes at the streets in anger. But the kind that softens the world, gentle, rhythmic. Like the pulse of something alive. Neon signs flickered against the wet pavement, their colors bleeding into each other. And under that blurred glow stood two figures. They weren't supposed to be there together. At least, not like this. Song Kang, dressed simply in a gray hoodie and black cap, had just left a cafe tucked between narrow Seoul streets. The air was cold enough to bite. Yet he hadn't noticed. The city felt quieter that evening, heavier somehow. And though he tried to ignore the weight in his chest, the drizzle made it impossible not to feel. A few steps away, someone else paused beneath the flickering light of a bus stop. Kim Yoo-young. She wasn't supposed to see him either. Not after the headlines. Not after the endless speculation that had twisted every look and gesture that shared into rumor. Yet here they were, no cameras. No scripts, no spotlights. Just rain, and silence. And the electric hum of something unspoken. When their eyes met, for a moment neither moved. Rain gathered at the tips of their hair, sliding down their faces like silver threads. And the distance between them pulsed with tension. There was no dialogue written for this scene. No one shouted action, and yet everything about it felt rehearsed by fate itself. She stepped forward first. "Did you walk here?" she asked softly. Her voice nearly drowned out by the rain. He nodded. "Couldn't sleep." "Me neither," she whispered. The world around them blurred into motion, the cars, the umbrellas, the rushing footsteps of strangers, and yet they stood still. The rain grew heavier. A steady drumming that wrapped them in a cocoon of sound. And then, without warning, the city lights flickered again. And Song Kang reached out. His hand found hers, cold but familiar. For a heartbeat, she hesitated. But then her shoulders relaxed. Her breath steadied. And she let him pull her closer. The raindrops between them shattered against his jacket as she leaned into his chest. It wasn't a lover's embrace. Not yet. It was something quieter, deeper. The kind of hug that carries years of unsaid words. Someone across the street gasped, recognizing them. A phone was raised. The lens caught the shimmer of rain. The glint of emotion in their eyes. And suddenly a single frame, Song Kang and Kim Yoo-young locked in an embrace under a Seoul downpour, became the spark that would set the internet on fire. By the next morning, that image would be everywhere. Couple caught in the rain, Song Kang and Kim Yoo-young's hug looks like a drama, screamed the headlines. On social media, hashtags exploded. Fans dissected every angle, every pixel, every drop of rain. Some insisted it was a commercial shoot. Others swore it was a real moment between two people who had long tried to hide their affection. But for those who had been there, for the handful of strangers who happened to witness it, the truth was simpler, more fragile. It hadn't looked like acting. It had looked like longing. Under the low, clouded sky. The moment lingered. The way he looked at her. As if memorizing her face before the rain could erase it. The way she smiled faintly. Like someone holding on to something already slipping away. The world kept moving, but they didn't. The cafe owner down the street would tell a reporter. They didn't say much. It was like they were speaking with their eyes. I don't think they even realized people were watching. Others described the same surreal quiet. That strange cinematic stillness, as though Seoul itself had paused to watch them. The rain had muffled every other sound. You could hear only breathing, and water. And the soft creak of her umbrella falling to the ground. That night, something shifted. It wasn't just about romance, it was about recognition. The way two people, worn down by fame and expectation, could find each other again in a city that refused to leave them alone. Online, fan accounts posted comparisons between the hug and scenes from My Demon. The symmetry was eerie, the lighting, the expressions. And the way their hands found each other. Are they rehearsing? One comment asked. Another replied, no. This looks too real. By dawn, millions had seen the photo. Edits, slow motion clips, poetic captions, all flooded every platform imaginable. Love in the Rain. One fan wrote beneath the viral video. Even if it's acting, my heart believes it. Neither Song Kang nor Kim Yoo-young made a statement. Their agencies remained silent. And silence, in a world hungry for answers, only deepened the mystery. Days passed, but the story refused to fade. Reporters tracked down bystanders, hoping for a clue. A delivery driver claimed he saw them laughing afterward. Local students said they left separately. No two accounts matched. Yet every version shared the same image: the rain, the light, the hug. Perhaps that was the beauty of it, the fact that no one knew what it truly meant. For fans, it was a fairy tale. For cynics, it was just a coincidence. For Song Kang and Kim Yoo-young, it was something they didn't owe anyone an explanation for. Still, the internet wouldn't let go. Made edits turn their moment into music videos, complete with melancholic piano scores. Journalists debated symbolism. Was it a confession? A goodbye? Or just two souls colliding at the wrong time? Under the Right Rain? One entertainment columnist wrote, "Hug in the Rain wasn't about romance, it was about reality. It reminded us that even stars crave warmth when the world grows cold." But behind the poetic headlines and speculative posts lay something deeper, an echo of something genuine. Because what the world didn't see was what happened moments before the hug. She had been standing alone, holding her phone, scrolling through messages she'd never sent. The rain had already begun, soft and cold. Past the edge of her umbrella. Her expression was unreadable, torn between leaving and staying. Had watched her from across the street, uncertain. Too many times. He had chosen to walk away. Serve the illusion that distance meant peace. But not this time. He had crossed through the rain. Or no cameras then. No audience, just the rhythm of the storm and the quiet pull of everything left unsaid. And when she looked up and saw him standing there, drenched, she didn't speak. She just let the rain fall. That was when it happened. That small, this connection that needed no translation. The rain wasn't a setting, it was a witness. When the photo went viral, people saw drama. But what they didn't realize was that behind that moment lay years of friendship, trust, and timing. It was more than chemistry. It was history. As night fell again the following day, Kim Yoo-young sat by her window, watching another round of rain blur the city lights. Somewhere across Seoul, Song Kang probably did the same. Two people, connected by a scene the world would never forget. The sound of rain was different now, heavier, lonelier, but somehow beautiful. She smiled faintly, whispering to herself. It really did look like a drama, didn't it? And for once, she didn't mind that the whole world was watching. Because sometimes, the most cinematic moments are the ones that aren't meant to be seen. The world refused to move on. After the rain had dried from the streets of Seoul, one frozen frame, two silhouettes beneath the downpour. The tenderness of their embrace lingered everywhere. Became a symbol. Replayed endlessly on screens, edited with music. Like sacred text. The photo had outlived the night. It had become myth. For Song Kang, the days after were strangely quiet. He avoided interviews, casual appearances, and shut himself inside his apartment where the echo of rain still followed him. Sometimes he would scroll through the storm of posts, his face half hidden beneath a hood. Every caption felt like an intrusion, yet also like a confession he'd never dared to make. Caught in the rain. Destined connection. Became life. He closed his phone. The silence in the room was heavy, filled with the sound of his own heartbeat. Somewhere between fiction and reality, he was losing the line that separated them. Remembered the way she had trembled, not from cold, but from everything unspoken. How her fingers had hesitated against his jacket before resting there, trusting. For that brief instant, it hadn't seen celebrities. It had seen two people. Stripped of roles, stripped of armor. And that scared him more than anything. Meanwhile, Kim Yoo-young was trying to keep pace with the chaos. Her team fielded calls. Her manager begged for patience. But curiosity was relentless. Everyone wanted to know, was it real? Every appearance since then carried invisible weight. Even during a photoshoot days later, the photographer whispered, "Could you look at the camera like that rain night photo? The fans love it." She smiled politely, but her chest ached. That look hadn't been acting. At night, she sat on her balcony, watching the city lights blur beneath mist. She thought about all the roles she'd played, Princesses, warriors, dreamers, but none had ever felt as raw as that unplanned moment on the street. That was the one role she couldn't rehearse. Still, the public demanded a script. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some claimed they had been secretly dating. Others believed it was a clever marketing stunt for a new project. There were even theories that the photo had been staged by a brand seeking viral fame. The internet built and destroyed narratives overnight. Who knew them both, friends, stylists, crew members, said nothing. Loyalty kept their lips sealed. Act kept their distance. But behind closed doors, both Song Kang and Jung carried the same quiet question. Was it fate that night, or was it just weather? A week passed before they saw each other again. Not in a public place, but in the calm of a film studio where their paths happened to cross. The air was thick with unspoken things. Approached her slowly, cautious as if stepping back into the rain. "Hey," he said softly. She looked up, surprised but calm. "Hey." Few seconds, the noise of the studio melted away. Neither mentioned the storm outside or the one that had followed them online. They didn't need to. The memory was still there, glimmering between them. "Didn't mean for that night to," he began, then stopped. She smiled faintly. "I know. Me neither." Silence. Then she added, "But it happened." Those 3 words were heavier than the rain had been. Hit him, eyes steady, as if searching for the line between coincidence and connection. Wasn't one anymore. He nodded slowly. Yet, it did. Outside, the sky was gray again. A low rumble of thunder rolled through the air, almost on cue. And both of them laughed quietly at the absurd timing. For a moment, it felt like déjà vu, a scene replaying itself just to test their hearts. "Do you regret it?" she asked suddenly. Hesitated, then shook his head. "No. I think, sometimes the world needs to see something honest. Even if it doesn't understand it." Her eyes softened. "Even if it hurts. Especially then." The words lingered, fragile and true. The days that followed, the media's obsession only deepened. Tabloids traced their movements, dissected their past interactions, replayed clips from award shows where their eyes had met. People saw evidence where there was only coincidence. Evidence where there was meaning. Yet, beneath all that noise, something quiet and real persisted. The third Sunday after the rain, a journalist from an international magazine was granted a rare interview with Song Kang. Halfway through the conversation, amid questions about scripts and streaming successes, she hesitated, then asked, "That photo with Kim Yoo-young, what did it mean to you?" Looked at her for a long time before answering. "Sometimes," he said, "a moment finds you. You don't plan it. You don't understand it. But it stays." That was all he said. But it was enough. The article went viral again, reigniting everything. Fans called it his confession without confession. Across the city, Yoo-young read the quote in silence. For the first time in days, she smiled, not the rehearsed smile of red carpets, but the soft one that only appeared when she remembered something real. That night, she picked up her phone and typed a message she'd thought about 100 times before deleting. "I saw the interview. Thank you." Finger hovered over the send button. Then she hit delete. Some things, she decided, were better left unsent. The rain came again a few nights later. Not as heavy as before, but steady. Constant, like a familiar song returning. Sound filled her apartment. Without thinking, she stepped outside, barefoot, letting it soak into her hair, her skin, her memory. Far across town, he stood under the same storm. He didn't know why, but the moment the first drop touched his hand, he thought of her. Maybe rain had become their language, a wordless thread tying 2 separate worlds together. And as the night deepened, something almost supernatural hung in the air. A strange symmetry. 2 hearts, 2 cities. One memory replaying under different skies. The following week, a behind-the-scenes staff member leaked a short clip from that fateful night, a few seconds of footage. Shaky but powerful. See them standing in the rain, facing each other before the hug. No dialogue, no music. The raw sound of rain hiding the street and a small inhale right before they moved closer. It went viral instantly. This time, the reactions were different. No longer filled with gossip or guesses. People wrote things like, "This is art. This is what humanity looks like." Sometimes a moment doesn't need to be explained. The noise had turned into silence, And in that silence, truth finally breathed. Weeks later, at an awards ceremony, fate crossed their paths again. Cameras flashed as they walked the same carpet, dressed in elegance and poise. They greeted the hosts, smiled at the crowd, and then, just for a heartbeat, their eyes met. It was brief, almost imperceptible. But those who saw it knew. That unspoken recognition, that flicker of warmth, it was still there. The moment passed, but the echo remained. At the event, when the crowd dispersed and the lights dimmed, Kang stood by the corridor exit. Outside, rain had begun again. Soft and uncertain. He turned slightly. And there she was, Kim Yoo-young, umbrella in hand, looking at him with that same quiet smile. Neither spoke. They didn't need to. Offered the umbrella wordlessly. And he took it. For a second, their fingers brushed, the same electricity. Same calm chaos. He whispered, "Seems like it always rains when you're around." She laughed lightly, eyes glistening. "Maybe it just follows you." They both smiled, and for once, it didn't feel like a scene from a drama. It felt real. Stepped out into the night together, sharing the small umbrella. Rain tapping gently against its surface. The city shimmered around them like a stage that no longer needed an audience. Somewhere, far away, a street musician was playing a slow, haunting tune. The melody floated through the damp air, wrapping around them like a promise. And though the world might never know what truly lay behind that rain-soaked hug, no longer mattered. Because the truth was simple, not everything real needs to be explained. And not everything beautiful demands proof. Sometimes, all you need is a storm to remind you what warmth feels like. The rain kept falling, away the noise, the questions, the speculation. And as they disappeared into the soft rhythm of the night, only one thought lingered, a silent echo of the moment that had started it all. Two people. One hug. A rain that refused to end. The photo would lie forever. The rumors would fade. But the feeling, that fragile, fleeting truth caught between raindrops, would remain untouchable, unspoken, immortal. 'Cause even after the world dries, the heart remembers. And somewhere in soul, beneath another quiet downpour, story still breathes, half memory, half miracle, of a couple caught in the rain. And so the story fades into silence, like the final scene of a film where the rain slows, the music softens, and the screen dims to black. Began as a fleeting encounter beneath a storm became something far larger than the moment itself. It became a reminder, of connection, of fragility. Even in the loudest city, two souls can find each other in the quietest way imaginable. The world may call it coincidence. Others may call it destiny. But for those who watched, and for those who felt the heartbeat within that photo, was something more. It was the beauty of being human, of standing under the rain and realizing you're not alone. As readers, you have walked with them through the storm, felt every drop, and seen what words often fail to capture. For that, thank you, for believing in stories that don't need scripts, for finding truth in what looks like fiction. Letting emotions speak louder than explanation. This story reminds you that sometimes, the most powerful moments in life are the ones that happen when no one is trying to make them perfect. Sometimes, a single hug beneath the rain can tell 1,000 stories more honest than any line ever written. To every heart that stayed until the end, thank you for standing in the rain with us. The storm has passed, but the memory remains. And somewhere in Seoul, beneath a quiet drizzle, Kang and Kim Yoo-young are smiling too, knowing that their rain became everyone's story. Until the next storm, stay warm, stay human. Never stop believing in the magic hidden between raindrops.